Drum rudiments from the Western military tradition don't always translate to conga drums, but there's a bunch that do, and flams in particular have always stood out to me since I first began playing congas and listening to great players. A flam is two strokes in which one stroke strikes the drum slightly before the other. And there's a lot of ways to interpret this rudiment. You can play the two strokes closer together, making the flam sound tighter. The space between when the grace note hits and the primary stroke hits is very close. Or farther apart, which results in a more open flam sound. One of the major differences in the way I play flams with hands versus sticks is the stroke heights. With sticks, I tend to play the strokes more defined, with the grace note at a lower stick height. But with hands, it's a little more free and open and less defined because I want the sound to project from both strokes. In this first example, we're playing flams with open tones, then slaps. And as you play, listen to the sound quality you're producing from the drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want free lesson PDFs, subscribe to my newsletter, Rhythm Insider, at rhythminsider.com. You'll get a free gift when you confirm your subscription. I like to incorporate flams into the groove to accent a fill, or just change it up to keep things interesting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... This first flam fill leaves a lot of space, and I use this space before and after the flam to focus on playing a big flam placed right in the pocket. Make sure you practice with a metronome to ensure you're keeping good time as you transition from the pattern to the fill and back to the pattern. Drum fills can easily go from being the icing on the cake to the cake on the floor when they're not in time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... The only difference between the first flam fill and the second was the low drum on beat 4. Now let's try to build on this fill by extending the phrase into the next measure. In that example, I added a slap to the and of beat 1 in the second measure. It's important to note that you can expand your vocabulary on this instrument by changing one thing at a time. Keep it simple, clean, and musical, and you'll sound great. The following is an example of a phrase that uses flams for improvisation. It's basically one of the licks that I play from time to time to establish a theme for a conga solo. 1, 2. This is just an example, so try playing it and then expand the ideas into other phrases like it. If you want to bring form to your conga solo, come back to some of the original ideas in the phrase to establish more of a theme and a sense of composition. But this is all making music, so be free and use themes like this one or one that you come up with to keep it interesting. If you want a more in-depth lesson on developing conga solos, watch this video right here.